Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going to be talking about the Israel and Hamas war a little bit here, but primarily we're going to talk about the Biden administration. Okay, so as you can see here on your screen, the Biden administration is panicking right now. Okay, so the US is basically panicking because Israel is about to move into Rafah. Okay, I just put out a video earlier today talking about that they plan to move into Rafah in the southernmost city of Gaza to take out Hamas within the next like 3 weeks or so. Okay, I think it's March 10th or March 11th, somewhere around there. They plan to start moving in, and Israel has demanded that Hamas remove these hostages or release them, I should say, and if they don't release them, they're basically gonna attack Rafah. Now Rafah has well over 1 million people there, a million refugees that are stationed there because they had nowhere else to go during the war. Israel told them to move down south to Rafah, so now they're all there. And Israel supposedly has this plan to evacuate people and get them out of there so they can move in. But this is a very short window here. Okay, we got about 3 weeks or so that Israel's claiming they're going to be attacking Rafah. So the U.S. is moving quick right now. We just had Biden. He's going to be going to the UN Security Council and trying to force a temporary ceasefire to prevent Israel from moving in to Rafah. Okay. Now I do want to show you this real quick too, though. There was a UN resolution. Okay, this is on CNN, a UN resolution that called for an immediate ceasefire. So, meaning like the war would be over basically in Gaza. The U.S. vetoed that, meaning they were against it. Okay, they did not allow it to go through. So there will be no ceasefire in Gaza. So that allows Israel one step closer to attack Rafah here in the next few weeks. So right now, what Biden is doing is he's trying to go to the UN Security Council instead of proposing a immediate ceasefire. He wants to propose a temporary ceasefire. Okay, I'm not sure for how long. I guess to allow more negotiations, so that way, Qatar and Egypt and these different countries that are involved can try to, uh, you know, get involved here and put up some sort of resolution, so that way this war can come to an end peacefully. But the issue here is that Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, said that they do not want to allow Hamas to exist, period. Okay, they're almost done eliminating Hamas. They just need to move into Rafah, and that's apparently one of the last strongholds for the remaining Hamas fighters. So they're going to go in here no matter what, okay? Benjamin Netanyahu already came out and said, no one's going to prevent us from going in. Even if there's an international court ruling calling for a ceasefire, telling Israel not to go in, they are going to go in no matter what. So the Biden administration is panicking right now, and they're trying to go to the UN Security Council and force a temporary ceasefire, at least for right now, to prevent this from happening so they can try to negotiate and find another way around this. But the issue is that Benjamin Netanyahu thinks completely different than everybody else. He's like, I don't care what people say. We're going to move in and we're going to attack Hamas. Whether there's innocent people there or not, we're going to try to remove them. But we know that many innocent people are still going to be there, even if they decide to evacuate majority of them. So it's gonna basically result in a catastrophe here because there's going to be a lot of innocent people getting killed. So let's talk about this article here. This is on Fox News. So Biden to go to UN Security Council to force temporary ceasefire on Israel and halt the Rafah offensive. A senior administration told Reuters that they didn't believe a rush to a vote was necessary or constructive. So it says here the Biden administration is reportedly taking its goal of a temporary ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war to the UN Security Council as early as Tuesday. The administration is said to have proposed a draft UN Security Council resolution, which in part would call for a temporary ceasefire and call on Israel not to go into Rafah in the Gaza Strip. but we know that won't happen, right? According to Reuters, the U.S. text states in part that it determines that under current circumstances, a major ground offensive into Rafah would result in further harm to civilians and their further displacement, including potentially into neighboring countries. Richard Goldberg, a former NSC official during the Trump administration, told Fox News Digital the United States should be vetoing pro Hamas solutions, not proposing them, by putting forward a resolution calling for a ceasefire and opposing Israeli military action in Rafah. The White House is effectively pushing for Hamas to survive, to massacre another day. This is complete betrayal of U.S. interests and values. So I don't know. That one's very difficult to say, but obviously, Benjamin Netanyahu feels the need to have to move in and eliminate Hamas. And the rest of the world is pushing back. Even the Biden administration has been changing their posture recently. And Biden's come out and said that Benjamin Netanyahu's being over the top. Okay, he's called him an a-hole. He said that he's screwing up negotiations. He's making things very difficult for the U.S. And obviously, the U.S. is backing them right now too. They're the number one backer of Israel. They're providing them aid, money. They are helping them helping protect the Red Sea from the Houthi attacks, and this is all due to the war in Gaza. So the U.S. is basically getting, like, slapped on the back with a whip for trying to help out, Israel. But in reality, Israel's going to move into Rafah no matter what. So this looks really bad on the U.S. That's the reason why Biden is panicking right now. Senior administration official speaking to Reuters on a condition of anonymity said, "We don't believe a rush to vote is necessary or constructive and intend on allowing time for negotiations. The Jewish state has hitherto opposed President Biden's attempts to torpedo its slated seizure of Rafah, where one of the last bastions of Hamas terrorists and hostages, including Americans, are believed to be located. On Friday, President Biden made clear his feelings about Israel going into Rafah, telling reporters, "I'm hoping that Israelis will not make a massive land invasion." He's hoping they won't, but I really believe that they're going to go in no matter what. Biden added during the same press conference that he had engaged with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the situation and that he had made the case in calling for a temporary ceasefire so that hostage negotiations can continue. "The world must know and Hamas leaders must know, if our hostages are not home by Ramadan," this is the holy day or holy month, I believe, holy day, "the fighting will continue and expand to Rafah," said Benny Gantz, an Israeli security cabinet member and leader of opposition party. Ramadan starts on March 11th. So that's basically in about 3 weeks from now. And if they do not release these hostages, it says right here, if the Hamas leaders must know if the hostages are not home by Ramadan, they will expand into Rafah and go in militarily. On Sunday, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said the decision was one Israel would take on its own. Hamas is left with marginal forces in the central camps and with the Rafah brigade, and what stands between them and a complete collapse as a military system is decision by the IDF. So he's basically stating here, Yoav Gallant, Defense Minister of Israel, is basically saying that they're almost done with Hamas. Okay, there's only a few battalions left, a few hundred, maybe a couple thousand troops left. They've apparently already eliminated 12,000 or more Hamas members. Okay, so they're very close to finishing off Hamas, and Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want to leave a small amount of them remaining so that way they can rebuild their forces and come back and attack Israel again. Commentators have noted that the hostage release talks in Cairo are stagnant, and Israeli forces have managed to free 2 hostages via limited incursions into Rafah last week. Gallant fired back at the international voices opposed to an invasion into Rafah. "There is no one here to come to their aid, no Iranians, no international aid." So see, that's another reason that they want to move in, is that Hamas has no protection. Okay, they are completely cut off. They are on their own. It will basically be very easy for the IDF to finish them off, is what they're saying here. Okay, there's no Iranians, no one's going to come to their aid. Hezbollah is way in the north and of Israel, and the IDF is already fighting against Hezbollah to hold them back while they, finish their operation down in Gaza. He continued, there were 24 regional battalions in Gaza. We have dismantled 18 of them. So that means what? Six left, six battalions left, roughly. Gallant said during a media briefing last week. Now Rafah is the next Hamas center of gravity. So here's an old picture here of Biden visiting with Benjamin Netanyahu here, and this is the defense minister Yoav Gallant. All right, so yeah, like I said, the Biden administration is panicking right now. They're trying to get at least a temporary ceasefire in here, so they can try to figure out another way around this. Because also something that I warned here is the closer we get to this Rafah invasion, and especially when the Rafah invasion kicks off, all these proxy groups, okay, Hezbollah especially, and the Houthis, they're really going to ramp up their attacks. I really believe they will. Their attacks are going to ramp up heavily, and the U.S. doesn't want to deal with that. Okay, they've got warships down in the Red Sea. We already have an international shipping problem in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Multiple ships are getting hit almost every day. I've been reporting on that many different times. This is only going to empower these Iranian-backed proxy groups to attack even more. And we just had that U.S. base come under attack in Jordan recently, that Tower 22 military base that I reported on, where we had those 3 U.S. soldiers that were killed and like 40 others were wounded. So the U.S. doesn't want more attacks because it's only going to get them more involved in what's going on in the Middle East. And they're trying to stay out of it, obviously, but they're in a way not staying out of it by supporting Israel. So it's a very tough situation here because Israel is allies of America, and they have decided, the Biden administration has decided to support Israel in their defensive act is what they're calling it against Hamas terrorists in Gaza. So this is going to get very interesting, okay? We're going to have a lot of information coming out from Israel here over the next several weeks. And the closer and closer we get to this Rafah offensive, the crazier things are going to get. And expect to see these proxy groups really start to pop off here very soon, because we're getting close to the end of this operation down in Gaza. And it's only going to embolden and anger the Muslim world over here in the Middle East and all these proxy groups. So things are only going to continue to get worse, and hopefully it doesn't turn into a full-blown war in the Middle East, because Iran has also come out a lot lately and stated that they are going to, they could potentially get involved, okay, in many different ways. So that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate you hanging out here with me today. If you got something out of this, please hit the like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider hitting the subscribe button as well and the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you as soon as a new video goes live. And we do put out several news updates and alerts every single day. So I appreciate you again for being here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope y'all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. We'll see you in the next one.